Welcome back to part 8 of my 10-part series on my predictions for Borderlands 3. In this video we'll be talking about the enemies in Borderlands 3. As always, be sure to leave a comment, tell me how to get better because I'm always working to improve myself. Also leave a comment, tell me you agree, disagree with my thoughts. Remember, they're just my thoughts, you all have your own. Or if you have any topic for a video you want me to cover, or just generally any comments, leave those in the comments. Also, remember to check out my other channel, YC Games. And yeah, let's get into the video. I already did talk about the different animal monsters and creatures we'll most likely uncover in one of the past prediction videos. So I will not be covering that here. This will be mostly bandits and other kind of stuff. We'll get into it. Let's jump right in. Now, the ending of Borderlands 2 made it look like we'll be traveling to different planets, opening different vaults, which sounds great. And multiple vaults means multiple vault monsters. Now, instead of having just one big bad boss as a final boss at the end of the game, like the past games have been, they would do this probably more throughout the game. Like, you know, you go on this planet, you spend so long on this planet, and then basically the boss of that planet is a vault monster.
Let's do that again sometime.
That is just kind of my thoughts on how they would do it if they handle it that way. Obviously, it's all speculation at this point. And with that, they could get really unique with their monsters instead of just trying to get one big bad, you know, fighter like the warrior. Oh, that was a big bad boss, and that was an awesome fight. But they can make it more unique, more diverse, have a flying vault monster, have an aquatic vault monster that's swimming, have just some giant that barely even recognizes you're hurting it, and fight it Shadow of the Colossus style. You don't have to climb up it or climb around it, you know, stuff like that. With multiple vault monsters, there's so much potential they can do, and they can be more creative with it. They don't have to stick to just, alright, this is the monster, it's unique in its own way, but it's still just a big monster. They can get really unique if they introduce multiple vault monsters. And it'd be really cool what they could see. What we could see if they decide to go this route. This would also open the door for different elemental type vault monsters, which would be interesting to see. And this could very well just turn into the boss fights of the past games, which really that's all the vault monsters are. We're just the end boss fight. But they have a chance to really make these special encounters. Like, they can still have their boss fights and their mini bosses and all that jazz that we've had in the past, but maybe take it a step beyond a boss by, you know, having just a vault monster tier of enemy. And that would be really unique to see and really just fun to get excited for. Like, okay, yes, the vault monster behind this door. Very much like how the different Seraph Guardians in the DLC expansions and Terramorphous, they were just bosses, yeah, but they felt bigger than that. They felt like they were more important, which they were. And that level of excitement could be very interesting to bring throughout the game of Borderlands 3 with these vault monster encounters. There really isn't much to say for just boss fights that I haven't really kind of covered in vault monsters. They should keep it the same. Obviously, you know, have their little cutscene intro, have their title card, cinematic. I think that's great. I think they covered boss fights beautifully in the past games, and they should continue doing just that. And there really isn't much to say because they've done phenomenal boss fights in the past. There's lots of memorable ones. There's lots of that just kind of sucked. You gotta push through them, but that'll happen with this kind of stuff. So as long as they can keep it to the level of the past games, I'm satisfied. And really, I'm satisfied if they do that with all of these subjects, but bosses is something they definitely nailed in past games, and they should continue to do that. Yeah, I've heard arguments maybe have a higher drop per their more rare loot, but that kind of takes the fun away from grinding them. And yeah, there's a lot they could tweak to make it maybe a little better and stuff like that, but it's all nitty-gritty stuff. If they keep it the same, maybe tweak things here and there that were way broken and way out of whack, but I think they got it under control. If Gearbox and 2K can just keep doing what they're doing. This is an area they shine. Full faith. Maybe have just more creature bosses. That seems like something we didn't really get a lot of in the past games. Like, yeah, there was Knuckle Dragger. I couldn't even think of his name at first. And there's like Terramorphous, but there weren't really many creatures that got boss fight intros. They were more actual bosses of cults and organizations and stuff. So maybe more of that would be pretty neat to see. But other than that, no complaints here. Now, I've stayed in the past, and I still stand by it. I don't want Jack to reappear. And I really don't even want Hyperion to reappear. But there should be a new organization that kind of takes Hyperion's place as not necessarily the enemies, but just the big evil corporation that wanted to take over the vaults for themselves. Because that is a very real thing that I'm sure would happen in this weird, wacky situation. So it is important that we should get some kind of new company or organization that's the same way. Maybe not even necessarily have loaders or robots in general. Just have like an organized army rather than just bandit camps and bandits. Because yeah, bandits are great and they're my favorite kind of enemy in any game, not just Borderlands. But it does get old after a while, and yeah, the loaders were a pain in the ass, especially the first few encounters with them when I didn't know how to handle them. My first playthroughs, but now they're just refreshing and nice to kind of switch it up from just, alright, here's a fire weapon, eliminate everything. So it would be good to have some variety. Like I said, not necessarily loaders or robots, but just some organized army that's actually difficult to kill because they know what they're doing. They're not just crazy lunatics that somehow got guns and buzz axes. Now, like I just stated, bandits are my favorite type of enemy just because they're easy for the most part, and you can just mow down a bunch of them without feeling even remotely guilty, and they're really hilarious to hear screaming and, you know, just the random quotes you can hear them say. It's really, they're great enemies, but I do think we need more variety going into Borderlands 3. Not necessarily like maybe a new type rather than just the nomads, psychos, Goliaths, all that jazz. Yeah, add a new type. I'm not really sure what I would have them do, but I'm not the creative one here. They are. But also have like different elemental types, because yeah, we had like flame psychos, but that was it. Like flame, slag, and regular psychos. There were, I can't remember any corrosive or like shock psycho. I'm sure there is some obscure place where you can find them, but I just feel like something that should be more common. And not even necessarily that, but just something to give it more variety than, like I said earlier, just, alright, I have a flame weapon. I can kill everything in sight and not really think much. It'd be great to mix up a little bit. And bandit variety, they already have a pretty good variety, but it got old surprisingly fast, especially with multiple playthroughs, which this game is very much intended for multiple playthroughs. One thing they should definitely add in Borderlands 3 is different bandit factions, because it was really cool to see like bandits fighting off against Hyperion or the different creatures. Like just seeing different AI interacting in a game is one of the coolest moments in the game for me. I just think that is the coolest shit. Because it's not just the world against you. They're not just programmed to hate this guy. They hate anyone in their way, anyone that's different from them. And that's cool to see. And not even necessarily that, but give them different factions and have maybe this cult hate this clan, but they're in an alliance with this other faction over here. Have different relationships between the clans or factions or cults, whatever you want to call them. That would be really neat to see. For me, at least. That's why one of my favorite side mission quest lines was the clan war, the Zaffrage versus Hodunks. It was funny, which is why I liked it, and you got a really cool gun if you picked the right side at the end. But it was just kind of cool to see that, yeah, even though it was scripted, which kind of took away from it, there are other enemies in this game. It's not just you versus the threat. In this, Borderlands 2 case, you versus Handsome Jack trying to awaken the warrior. There are other relationships and enemies and feuds going on in the world. And seeing more of that would be really neat. And yeah, side missions are a great place to do that, but what would be even better is just seeing it randomly. You don't expect it. Just have a random bandit patrol. They're walking by, they happen upon a different bandit camp. And have them wear like different colors and face paint and armor and stuff, so they do know they are different, and they start fighting. That would be so cool to see in Borderlands 3. So with the idea of going to different planets brings up the idea of interacting with different alien species. Now most likely we'll be facing off against different alien creatures from these different planets, which I already covered in a past video, and that's all well and good and cool and whatnot. But what would be more interesting is fighting more alien creatures that are a little more civilized-ish, kind of like the Guardians, but obviously we fought them in the past and it'd be kind of boring to bring them up again, and it sounds like we might actually be on their side this time. I don't know. All that plot stuff, boring, boring, boring. We'll move on. But it'd be pretty cool to see different races like them, that we can talk to, interact with, they understand our language, but maybe we don't agree, so we're at war with them instead, and they have guns and stuff, and it's just a neat idea. Have them basically be like bandits, but not look human, and maybe have different abilities that humans don't possess. It'd just be pretty cool to see, rather than just fighting, bandit after bandit after bandit. Like I kind of already said, the loaders kind of broke up that, and maybe that different alien species could be this game's version of the loader, where yeah, you're still fighting humanoid things, but with a twist. They require something different to really take them down. Just an idea. Like all my ideas, leave in the comment, agree, disagree, all that jazz. Your own ideas, fun stuff like that. That's about all I have for this episode. Leave a comment, tell me if I missed anything, if you agree, disagree, all that jazz. Have any ideas for future videos? We're pretty much wrapping up this 10-part series. That's part 8 in the bag right there. 2 more parts left. Remember to join me next time when I'm going to be talking about the DLC, I hope, for Borderlands 3. I know it kind of sounds weird to talk about, but trust me, it'll make sense in the next video. As always, leave a comment, tell me how I can get better, want to get better. Why not? Leave a like and subscribe. I don't care. It's your life. Do what you want. If you made it far in this video, you probably somewhat enjoy my voice, or at least like my ideas and my sense of humor. Obviously, if you like Borderlands, you like my sense of humor. So be sure to check out my other channel, YC Games. And yeah, catch y'all in the next one, talking about DLC.